Well, a hurricane and earthquake kept us from bringing you the story a few weeks ago about a prehistoric Indian site found in Anne Arundel County. It turns out that Pig Point is quite a treasure trove. The site is twice as old as any previously found human habitation in Maryland, and it's fast becoming one of the most important archaeological sites in the Mid-Atlantic. When the owner of this property started laying an underground pipe, he knew he had stumbled across artifacts of historical significance. That's why William Brown asked archaeologists to come dig on his land. For the last 3 years, they have unearthed some of Maryland's greatest treasures.
Well, we're screening for artifacts, or hopefully we find some. This soil came out of a very deep pit, very old. We're not sure if it was if the pit was made by people, or could it be a tree fall or some old animal burrow?
Well, after we get through the colonial layers from the 1600s and the 1700s, we start finding the dark, rich midden, the refuse from Indian campsites, probably in the 1500s AD. We find pottery, we find bone tools, we find arrowheads, we find the food remains that they were eating. Of course, being on a swamp, we're finding beaver and otter and ducks and of course a lot of deer, and we're learning what life was like in the past here. But the deeper we go, we get back to earlier eras, we get back before pottery. We start finding spear points from 5,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago.
Patuxent Indians from around 500 AD would use fossilized shark's teeth such as this one as cutting tools. It's one of the many treasures found here at Pig Point in southern Anne Arundel County. Tools and other artifacts have been buried by fresh deposits of soil, most likely washed down from a higher elevation. The result is a continuous record, with the most recent occupations at the top of the pit and the oldest at the bottom.
This wigwam that William Brown, the owner, built, it's the exact same dimensions as the post holes that we found here that the wigwams would have been. The saplings that are the supports here are also the exact same dimensions. So it's really authentic. We used all kinds of literature to do it properly. There's a fish drying rack out back. We looked at literature from North Carolina Algonquin tribes to do it all properly.
And the contents of the pit included spear points and flakes from rocks and broken rocks from hearths, but also animal bone and fish bone, freshwater mussel shell. The fish we managed to identify as white perch and yellow perch. We found charred hickory nuts. But if you think about that, here's, 8,500 years ago, and they're getting yellow perch and white perch. That's the same sort of stuff. You can still get hickory nuts around here, and you can still get the freshwater mussels.
Last month, archaeologists learned from carbon dating that a stone hearth they recently uncovered was last used nearly 9,300 years ago. And archaeologists at Pig Point are hoping to reach back into time by digging even deeper. The next period they would reach is the Paleo-Indian or Clovis time, roughly 10 to 20,000 years ago. Those were the earliest known people to have arrived in North America by way of the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia to Alaska.